one is quite interesting because, how do I put it now? Cross-disciplinary, that's how I'll call him. That's talking about Dr. Stephen Igetelei, a neurologist with over 12 years of experience in the field of neurology, who is also pursuing a career in emergency and critical care medicine. He's the author of the poetry collection Mind Flakes. So that's why I said cross-disciplinary. A neurologist who is also an author. Now that's quite something. It is great to have you. You're welcome.
Thank you. And
now, just before I go into the book here, where did you develop or when did you know that you could write? Considering that, of course, you'd have to have had a science background for you to be a neurologist. How did you manage to put all of that together?
Okay, so thank you for having me on your program. So I think I started writing from when I was way back in secondary school. Yes. Yeah, I already knew that I would be a doctor. I had that mindset from, growing up as a child because I was fascinated with human beings, human nature.
Okay.
At the same time...
It was about you, not your parents, that way?
No, it was about me.
Okay.
It was about me. But writing, I started writing from when I was in secondary school. I would just write a few lines and all of that. My friends liked them. And then I think that the whole thing really started full-blown the year before I entered medical school.
So while you were in medical school, were you still writing alongside?
Yes, in my earlier years in medical school, I was writing from my preclinicals, that's what we call it. So basically from my 100 level to 300 level and then 400 level.
All right.
I did a lot of writing. But when it came to the core clinical, I think that's where it became really tough.
Tough, exactly.
Yes, and writing sort of slowed down.
All right. Okay, but you're back here with Mind Flakes, an anthology of very relatable poems written across decades. The body of work deals with subjects like depression, love, death, friendship, fate, and other issues of life. Let's talk about this. What was the inspiration behind Mind Flakes, putting it together?
Well, so the inspiration behind this anthology, I mean, is varied because if you look at if you have the book and you go through the content, you're going to find very different topics like you listed out. I delve into things that deal with nature, weather, health issues, depression, and how probably to handle stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
And at some point, I was bold enough to even do a body of romantic poems.
Yeah.
And then, and then talking about faith and life in general. Is this where we all end up? Is there something hereafter?
Hereafter.
Yes, so
there's a question, You know, incidentally, growing up, there's just this question that I always used to ask. When I was little, I didn't understand the meaning of it, but I would always ask, what's the essence of life? Why life? What are we doing with life and all of that? And this, when I look at the content that what you have here, What Has No Halo, that's the first poem, down to The Oracle, Lonely Lover, Nostalgia, Am I the One, Your Beauty, Pretty Damsel, down to What's the Pill, and then The Land of Answers. It really does cover a lot. What is your aim to somebody who picks this up? What do you want to achieve in the life of somebody who reads Mind Flakes?
Wow, so that's a very good question. I want to trigger thoughts, especially when we're looking at things that have to do with existence. I want people to stop and think, you know, because there is this thing about waking up and then just joining the flow and everybody is running the rat race. It's like clockwork, it's like, so, but sometimes we need to pause and think, why are we here, what's the reason, who am I, you know, stuff like that, so that you can then probably develop and own your own flavor, because I believe that every human being is unique. And I think that when we are able to answer the question, who am I, what am I doing here, then we can really add value and meaning to our own lives and to the lives of others.
Interesting. I like that. I like that. The land of answers. I don't know why it feels like I should talk about that particular one. That's the penultimate poem you have here, Land of Answers. What's that poem? What are you talking about in that poem?
Okay, Land of Answers is looking at, there are two main characters there. And then it had to do with someone who had a series of unfortunate events, you know, just thrown at him, you know. And, you know, sometimes life is like that. Unexpectedly, you're doing very well this moment, and then unexpectedly, a wave of unfortunate events just hit you, and that's what happened here. And then it got to a point where this person decided that, look, if I do not stop and think why all of this is happening to me, if I do not, you know, find out how to wriggle out of these unfortunate events, it might be the end of me. And then, but somewhere along the line, he decided that, you know what, even if I don't have the fortitude to deal with all of this, I believe, so this person believes that there is a life hereafter. He feels that at the end of it all, when I'm before my Maker, when I'm before my God, I will have answers to why all this happened to me. Something
Stephen,
like Job went through.
Dr.
You know.
Stephen, this is, to say it is deep is an understatement. It makes for a good reader. And I would want to recommend it. I'll go through it myself. And I think this is something that everyone can definitely learn from. Thank you very much. Well done for this.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Stephen, it was a pleasure talking to you and wishing you the best.
Same.
Well done.
Thank you
All right,
so much.
okay, that's it. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a very short time out now. When we get back, the beautiful Fadikemi Oluku will be here, of course, for our final chat.